So continuing on this theme of people waking up and understanding, it's really happening, and there's nothing that can be done to stop it. So, as negative as things look, I'm not a negativist. I'm a positivist because I know positively the good guy is going to win. Now, I digressed a bit about the Band-Aid analogy. Now, there's two ways I've listed of pulling this Band-Aid off us financially. And one, you can rip the Band-Aid off, which could cause a lot of damage. I'm a nice guy, so, really that's not my preferred method. The other one is just tortuously pulling it off and causing even more wreckage in the long run, more pain for people. Now, the third approach is gradually, gently, without it even hurting, without anybody even feeling it, yanking it off. And the way to do that, again, is through sound money. Now, how do we get sound money? We can't get sound money short of seizing the Federal Reserve Bank. Here in America, I'm only speaking for our central bank. Okay, I can't speak for somebody else's. We don't even have control of our own, and I cannot worry about the World Bank or the EU or any other nation and their central banking system. I'm speaking directly to American people. And if I'm speaking to somebody from another nation, fine. Well, it's the same thing. We must demand accountability, oversight, checks and balances. We must demand sound money. And the indicator, the evidence for sound money is that in the aggregate, it continues to increase in worth, therefore gently lifting us out of this malaise, the woes, the social woes that have been manufactured, conjured up for us to experience. It's the only hope. And you see, even the status quo people can't complain. How can the rich complain when they see their currency increasing in worth too? You understand, the way it stands now is that they feel that, hey, I just got to get my numbers up because they see the writing on the wall. They know our currency has a long history of being debased over decades and decades since the assassination, at least since the assassination of JFK, who tried to give us sound money, but probably did not understand the hatred he would invoke by doing it, how radical this was, how controversial this was to this elitist class of criminals. That's what they are. They are criminals. They are willing to murder, and that's exactly what they did to get their way. I'm not saying Janet Yellen did it, or Ben Bernanke, or Alan Greenspan. I don't know who did it. A lot of people have deeply researched and said, well, Daddy Bush was in there, and he was working for the CIA, and he was a rogue, he was a black hat, and there was others involved that had weaseled their way into some government, supposed to be a protection service like the CIA, supposed to protect us from evil people around the world. And the FBI, we got them, we got black hats, we got white hats. Thank God there's white hats in there. But this is the way it works. So it was an inside job. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald with some old rickety rifle from the library building, like we're told, shot. And well over 65% of the American people don't believe that story today. So understand, these people absolutely hate the notion of setting the captives free through sound money, because it definitively would set the captives free, and it would do it gently, and even the status quo rich people could not logically complain as they see their currency rise. And if they do, they're insane, and they're just worried about losing their own advantage. You see, that's the one thing they will lose. As we all have equal rights, equal entitlements as prosperous shareholders of this planet, rightfully so, not by the decrees of men, not because we got to invoke a lot of rules and laws to enable humanity to be free. This is coming from above. This is just understanding that this earth is not something these elitist scum created. So it doesn't just belong to them and their lineage. Okay, it belongs to everybody. How can anybody say, oh, it's okay that the Rothschilds have these X trillions of dollars and they just keep handing it on to their heirs, and so they rightfully own the world and these royalty class and all this? Bull. That's not going to be the state of the affairs in perpetuity. The good guy is going to win this thing. You see how I'm a positivist? I know it's coming sooner or later, but we're not there yet. We have not turned the corner yet. Your currency continues to be debased as I speak, worth less. So that means the crime is still going to keep going on. The dubious war is going to keep being able to get started. People will do anything for money. Okay, you can still hire assassins, mercenaries. We're going to see debt increase and continue. And you're going to see your dollars worth less and less and less. Okay, that's what's going to happen for a while until we hit a stone wall. And it's literally God that is erecting that stone wall, where people wake up and they become empowered. They understand basic economic principles. They can decipher the difference between sound money and unsound money, and they can learn what's involved in attaining sound money. They can understand the basics of economic principles like supply and demand, free market principles, the things that caused all the niceties, all the amenities of life to be dirt cheap, but they caused, by manipulating markets, they cause the other things that we need dearly, like food and housing and water and energy. They want to control and manage those and manipulate those things and fix prices. Okay, because this is, at least they have us by the throat. They've got us by essential human needs. And so they say, oh, well, these are just, this is collateral damage of a capitalist system, right? Isn't that what they'll claim? Bull. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is the collateral damage of a crony capitalist fascist system. Why I call crony capitalism akin to fascism. Because you get the government acting like a single special interest group, very powerful. These are the ones that legitimize and validate the policies they get handed by the central bankers, the Federal Reserve Bank. They're rubber stamping everything because they can give themselves a raise. We've seen it repeatedly. This stuff makes the mainstream media. They can't do everything clandestinely and surreptitiously. Some stuff makes its way to the public ear. We see it. So they don't care that they debased your currency by 10%. They just gave themselves a 20% raise, which more than made up for what they did to your currency. So for them, they're fine. They not only stay well-heeled, they're even more well-heeled. Okay? So you understand why they go for this, why they keep doing what they're doing. Because they can. Because these are the top money lovers. These are the top criminals. Okay, which will stop at nothing. Lying and cheating and stealing and thieving is nothing to these people. They'll inflict mass murder. They don't care what they do to we the people. They just want to stay in power and keep their lot. They don't care about Democrats or Republicans or conservatives or liberals or communists or capitalists or men or women, blacks, whites, browns. They don't care what your religion is or your lack of religion. They don't care. They want you divided. They want you at each other's throats, our throats, us, we the people, at each other's throats, distracted, not looking at them, not pointing the finger at the root causers. The causers of our misery is these people. And we've got to get control. If we don't gain control over the money printing presses, folks, then all we have to look forward to is literally, I believe this, literally the return of Jesus. However foreboding, however far out and wild and far-fetched that might seem, folks, that's the promise, that things will continue to descend until that time. And maybe it's happening in slow motion, so that's the good news. Maybe I don't even realize that Jesus has already begun to return, and we're turning a table, even though the momentum and the inertia is still there. And things are still getting worse right now because they're getting worse because your currency is worth less. So the poverty grows. The wealth disparity grows. The crime grows. The dubious war grows. The debt grows. You understand? The economic abortions grow. Prostitution. All these desperate people doing desperate things to keep their head above water. and they don't care about anything else. It turns us all into psychopaths, because if you're listening to them and that's all you got to go by, they're psychopaths. These are crazy people. Some of these people are overtly satanic worshipers. That's it. They don't care. They want to put themselves above God. Okay, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. These are evil people that aren't thinking it through. They don't care about being accountable or answerable on the day of judgment, which they all will be. We will all stand one-on-one before our judges. Okay, and those are the holy angels. Jesus said these are the harvesters of the souls of men. So these are the ones that are tasked with judging us and saying, look, you made the cut. You get to inherit a renewed earth, okay, where there's not going to be this false competing God, as Jesus called money. How you can't serve this phony master, this pseudo master, money. This is how they work. Satan wouldn't have no power in this world, okay, if it wasn't for the money. And these evildoers who are walking lockstep with the same ideology, the same philosophy, satanic philosophy, are walking lockstep therein, they would lose all their power. They would lose all their relevance. So they've got to keep this thing going. They're bent on it. They're just, they got a running start. They got this inertia. They got the momentum. They're going to take it as far as they can until they are put in their place. Because I don't call for violence. I don't call for a violent civil war. I'd say, yeah, let's have a metaphorical civil war. We the people wake up and with one voice bum rush these people, okay, and say, no, we're taking over this Federal Reserve. We need to gain control of money printing presses because nothing's going to change if we keep nibbling around the edges. We say, oh, we're going to stop the TPP, and oh, we're going to do this and that. Well, the problems keep on happening. That we keep on debasing the currency, so the poverty's locked in, all the problems. So it's not going to happen by nibbling around the edges and addressing one little side issue after another. That's right where they want us. They want us thinking that's you know what? You can't win the big picture, so focus on the little thing, the trivial stuff, the minutia that doesn't even really matter, this or that instance. But nothing's going to change if we don't gain control over the money printing presses. Mark my words. That's the way it's going to be, folks. That's the way it's going to stay. That's what they want. And that's where they're going to keep us down, oppressed. Look up the word oppression. It's all about money. They've been using this tactic for thousands of years. This is how Satan oppresses. This is the best they can get in the way of reverence. The correlation between reverence and fear, like it says, fear God alone. They got us fearing them. We're just, scrambling and, blocking out everything else just to go make those numbers. Your numbers go up, your need for more numbers. You got to go out there. You got to block everything out and focus on paying homage and reverence to the God of this world. Like Jesus again said, the God of this world is Satan. It is the money. This is his MO, modus operandi, method of operation. He would be neutered and utterly and abjectly impotent if we took away the power of the purse from Satan. And that's what I'm talking about here, folks. That's what I'm talking about, us gaining control and saying, no, we're going to have sound money. We're going to go by supply and demand. And if we see any item getting more dear, in other words, our currency is being debased in relation to that particular commodity, let's take housing, then we're going to focus on that. And we're going to have so damn much housing, we're going to have it coming out our ears, and it's going to be blatantly obvious. Housing should be dirt cheap. We should all be able to own 5, 10, 15, 20, as many houses as you did.